Hey there, everybody. Nice to see you. I see a bunch of familiar faces as well as some new ones. Really excited to be here today with some good friends of ours, Pragmatic Institute and AHA Software coming together to host this session for you today. So a little bit of very quick housekeeping for you just as we get going. The best way to interact during this session is to use the chat box below. You can select everyone from the dropdown. That's a really great place for you to talk with other participants as well as some of our panelists during the session and exchange really great ideas together. If you have a question for one of our panelists or from the Pragmatic team or AHA software team that are here in the back end to support you, put that in the Q&A section. That's the best spot for you to do that. We will have a question and answer portion at the end of this session, and I'll be keeping an eye on that space for that. There will be a recording of this session that will be automatically emailed to you. We get this question a lot. Will a recording and slides be provided? Yes, they absolutely will. No worries about taking frantic notes because we're going to send it to you automatically in the next couple of days, and we're excited to do so. So let's get kicked off here. We are so excited to be here with, again, both teams. We've got Dan Corbin, who is an incredible Pragmatic Institute instructor who teaches world-class education every day. And we also have Claire George, who is an incredible expert on the AHA software and innovations that are coming forward, and she's going to share all of that with you today. She's also just a delight to work with and someone that we are good friends with and excited to talk to. So we are going to chat about creating winning products with pragmatic principles and AHA software and how those two things really weave together beautifully and create a seamless experience for your products. I am going to let both Dan and Claire, respectively, introduce Pragmatic and AHA software to you if you are not familiar with them. So Dan, you can go ahead and kick us off and share a little bit about Pragmatic.
Sure. So at Pragmatic, we're not just trainers. We're your partners in transformation, bringing over 30 years experience. We've trained over 250,000 professionals at over 10,000 companies worldwide. And we're all about real results, higher sales, better customer feedback, faster market launches, and teams that move as one. One thing that sets Pragmatic apart is our instructors. I feel kind of weird saying that because maybe that's a little, I'm hyping up myself, but all instructors at Pragmatic have climbed up the ranks of product management to serve as product executives at multiple tech companies. With real-world experience, Pragmatic instructors are well equipped to help students tackle career challenges and achieve excellence. And we do this utilizing the Pragmatic framework. If you've taken any of our courses, you're familiar with the Pragmatic framework. It can bring order and structure to all the chaos that product managers face on a regular basis. So the Pragmatic framework, it shows product managers how to understand their markets, how to align products with customer needs, and really how to drive product success. Students often ask me, what are the best ways to implement pragmatic principles and utilize all of our templates and worksheets and guides? And what you'll notice in today's webinars is how well the Pragmatic framework pairs with AHA. Their approach mirrors all the best practices that we teach. And Claire's going to demonstrate how easy that can be done with AHA.
Yeah, thank you for the lovely warm welcome there. One of the things I really enjoy about working with our friends at Pragmatic is that we both really share a common purpose in terms of helping organizations build products that customers actually want based on listening to those market and customer needs so that we can solve real problems. So here at AHA, we have a very clear vision, which is that we aspire for a world of lovable software built by thriving product development teams. And we're really proud to help over 1 million product builders do exactly that. Now, we focus on streamlining literally every aspect of the product development lifecycle. So you can see here that we've defined 9 key steps, which starts with setting your product strategy and then moving into how you capture customer feedback and explore innovative product concepts. From there, we help teams plan what to build by prioritizing the right features and then showcasing your product roadmap. Then we transition into implementation mode, helping product and engineering teams work super closely together to build lovable new software, and then document how it works so that you're ready for those exciting launches. Of course, it's also extremely important to analyze the value that you've created so you can keep learning and improving over time. Now, it's worth noting that these steps are typically happening in parallel, especially if you're in a high-paced agile environment where you're rapidly building functionality and iterating based on new feedback and insights. So we provide, 5 core products that help you accomplish all of this. And really, the goal is helping you deliver more value faster. So those tools are AHA roadmaps, AHA ideas, AHA whiteboards, AHA knowledge, and AHA develop. Each of those tools is perfect built for product teams, and that gives you everything that you need to do your best work. For today's presentation, I'm going to be focusing mainly on AHA roadmaps, which is our flagship product and provides a complete product management solution. So to that end, it gives you all of the essential capabilities that you need so that you can create a seamlessly integrated environment and bring both your product strategy and, of course, those pragmatic principles to life.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan and Claire, for those introductions. You've heard from our wonderful speakers and hosts a little bit about the organizations. I'm going to talk to you about how they work together and how we are going to share that with you today. So across the Pragmatic framework, you have 37 boxes and 37 discrete activities and a huge range of strategies and templates and exercises that all use the Pragmatic framework as a powerful structure to drive your alignment and foster shared language on your team. And that creates a lot of valuable, tangible deliverables, but it's a lot of moving parts, right? And so when you're leading efforts to bring together new alignment and consistent processes and really measurable outcomes, as Claire was talking about, it's really important to keep track of all that progress and keep everyone connected to the work. And so that's why building a really thoughtful process and capturing everything in a centralized place isn't just a benefit or a nice to have, it's critical. You really need that to happen in order to accelerate. So you've got to have a clear line of sight for your team into everything that's happening and the improvements being made so that it informs your decision-making every step of the way. So that's where AHA roadmaps is incredibly essential for implementing the Pragmatic methodology. It's more than a roadmap tool, as Claire just shared with you. It's really a complete product management solution, and it can help you set your strategy, prioritize what to build, and design a roadmap that is going to align with all of those goals. Even more so, however, it's going to make sure that your team can collaborate seamlessly and stay true to your core purpose, as well as the Pragmatic framework itself. So we're going to talk to you today about really what combining the power of those things together can offer for you and how it can be a game changer for your work. So we've seen many product professionals leverage this combination in remarkable ways, and we're consistently amazed by their innovation and ingenuity. And I wish I could share all of those different real-world applications with you. But in today's session, we want to give you a glimpse of what that looks like. So we have chosen 3 distinct challenges that you'll probably be familiar with in your own product work, and we're going to walk you through how Pragmatic views the best way to approach those challenges, and then how you can actually implement that inside of AHA. So the first challenge that we're going to discuss is really struggling to identify your market problems and knowing where you're going to invest. So to solve that challenge, we'll talk to you a little bit about effective discovery practices, and we'll also show you what that looks like in the ideas, notes, and feedback tools in AHA. The next thing we're going to talk about is how you really prioritize the right features with confidence, right? I know that we've all been there before. And so we're going to talk about Pragmatic's strategy matrix to address that. And then we'll dive into AHA's whiteboard as well as asynchronous collaboration tools so that you can really bring that to life. And then the third example and use case we're going to talk to you about are hitting snags working to communicate your roadmap internally. This is one that is just as much science as it is art, and many product professionals bump into. So we're going to talk about Pragmatic's principles for creating really powerful roadmaps, and then also show you how AHA will allow you to tailor your roadmaps for different audiences, making sure that you're really engaging stakeholders and gathering incredibly productive feedback. So I am going to stop share, and Claire is going to guide you through some visuals here. Dan, you can kick us off now that we are all ready to go. And our goal is for you to leave this session inspired and equipped with new ways to make the most of these tools. So Claire and Dan, you can take it away for us.
Excellent. Well, let's start off by talking about how to effectively leverage discovery. How do you identify those market problems and decide where to invest? Now, when it comes to the discovery of market problems, there's an important rule to remember. The answers to most of your questions are not in the building. The answers to your questions are not in your inbox, in your conference rooms, or in those Zoom sessions where we spend so much of our time. The answers to your questions are out in the market. They're with those buyers and users that have the problems that you're looking to solve. And at Pragmatic, we have an acronym for this. It's called NIHITA, which stands for Nothing Important Happens in the Office. Now, I'm sure many, if not most of you, have the word product in your title. And the reality is, companies are filled with product experts, your engineers, your salespeople, designers, Q&A, executives. But what we really need is market experts. And that's where you come in. A key responsibility of the product team is being market experts and knowing what problems exist in the market. So how do you discover market problems? Discovering market problems, it's a listening exercise. Discovery is the qualitative part of your research. It's deep research with a small sample size to find market problems that might be worth solving. So to summarize discovery in 3 words, discovery requires listening. So when doing discovery, you should be listening and learning, not talking, telling, or selling. And the most common response should always be, that's interesting, tell me more. You're going to need to accept every negative with a smile and recognize that people are going to believe what they perceive. During discovery, we're trying to understand those perceptions, not try to change them. You also need to be mindful of confirmation bias. Be open to what you don't expect. The importance of discovery, it can be captured in this quote by Aaron Levie, who is the CEO of Box.com. He says, "You'll learn more in a day talking with customers than in a week of brainstorming, a month of watching competitors, or a year of market research." Now, we're not saying to skip brainstorming, or you don't need to keep tabs on the competition, or don't do market research. All of those are important. But there's nothing like getting firsthand knowledge from the people that are experiencing the problems that you can solve. So doing discovery, talking to customers is really key, but you also have to document what you learn. So we recommend that you document your learnings as quickly as you can, while the knowledge is still fresh in your head. We also recommend that you bring along an interview partner and you sync with that partner right after every single interaction. 2 people can hear the exact same conversation very differently, so it's a best practice just to compare what each of you heard and observed. So I was just talking about the importance of getting outside the office, either virtually or physically, to do discovery interviews. I'm going to pass it over to Claire, but I'd love for in the chat to hear from you. What are some other methods that you use to discover market problems? So while Claire picks up keeps going with the discussion, let's start a separate discussion in the chat about how are other ways that you discover market problems.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. I'm definitely excited to hear all of those different ways that teams out there are using to learn about those market problems. But, literally, as you just said, documenting what you learn is absolutely crucial. When you're gathering all of these really valuable insights, no matter how you gather them, it's really important to make sure you document so you've got them to refer back to. So in this section, I'm going to be showing you how you can manage all of your documentation in AHA roadmaps. And then we're going to look at how we can take those really valuable insights that you're uncovering and bring them directly into your planning process. From there, we'll take it a step further and actually look at how you can use an ideas portal to enable what I like to lovingly call always on Nihito, so that your customers and colleagues have a place to proactively share feedback with you and really keep those insights coming. So I'm going to head over now to AHA roadmaps and we can take a closer look. So just to help you get situated, today I'm going to be using a fictitious product called Fredwin Cycling as my example. It is like I said, a fictitious product, but it's a social fitness application. So you'll be seeing lots of example data related to planning bike rides and setting fitness performance goals. Just to introduce you a little bit to the AHA interface, if you're not familiar with it, there's a section in AHA roadmaps for all of those key areas that we talked about a little bit earlier when I was going through the product development lifecycle. So here you have a place for capturing your strategy, your releases, your ideas, your features, and then of course, the actual roadmap itself. Now I'm starting here in the knowledge tab. This is a place where you can create an information hub. So you can capture all of your pragmatic documentation in one place, as well as any other product information that you're documenting. Now, chances are you might already have a lot of this documentation scattered over lots of different places. Highly recommend bringing it all into one place. And the real value here is being able to manage it alongside all of your strategic plans. So over here on the left, you can see that I've created an information hierarchy, and I've got folders for each of those core building blocks that we looked at in the pragmatic framework, so I can really keep everything organized. Now, at the top of my hierarchy here, I have added a beautiful visual of the pragmatic framework. This is really important to keep the framework that your team uses really top of mind and very central for the team. This diagram is actually available in our library of guided templates. There's more than 100 in here for for every aspect of product management and product development, but you will find the pragmatic framework as one of those templates. So highly recommend that you add that again, just to keep the framework front and center. Now let's expand one of these folders and take a closer look. This is where you can actually get into building out those templates using either text-based notes or whiteboards if you're creating more of a visual diagram. So here you can see that I've created that market discovery template that Dan just showed us. So this is really helpful. You can create these templates, you can customize it to suit your needs, and then you can add it to that template library and just make sure you're sharing it across the team so that everybody is capturing information in the same way. Now let's dive into a more specific example. So here we're going to imagine that I've had a market discovery conversation with a fictitious customer called Aerocycle. And scrolling down here, you can see that I've captured details about the problems that I discovered and the problem impact, which is really handy. It's now all documented in one place. As Dan mentioned, though, one of the really key things is making sure that you can actually share the insights that you're gathering with colleagues. So we make that super easy to do in AHA roadmaps, whether it's with other folks inside your AHA account, or if you need to share it with guests and other stakeholders who perhaps aren't an AHA user. Once those folks jump into the document, you can add comments. This is a great way, again, to be encouraging other people to share the insights that they've gathered, also reflecting on the things that you have captured, so that you're just capturing constantly that record in one place. So this is great. We've got this awesome document. We've got these insights captured. But I think the question that we hear really from so many teams is, okay, we have all these great insights. Now, what do we do with them? You know, it can get a little bit messy if you have to keep searching back through multiple documents to recall key insights and decide which ones to move ahead with. So scrolling down here, you probably noticed I've captured a number of different observations, such as this one here to create custom training plans. So what should I do with it? Well, we're now going to head over to the ideas section in AHA roadmaps, and I will show you how you can capture it as a discrete record type so that you can make sure that every idea, every insight that you're coming across is getting captured, and you never lose sight of that. So here, I'm just going to quickly hop in. I'm going to add a new idea, and I'm going to put in those custom training plans. And you'll see right away, it's now added in my list here. So this means I've got a clear record of it. I can always come back to it and easily review it later. Now, I would recommend taking it a step further. There's the insights that you're gathering, but empower your customers, empower your colleagues to capture those insights, directly themselves. So many of our customers actually create two different types of ideas portal, a public one where customers can go to, such as this one here that you're looking at, or a private one where colleagues can be capturing some of their insights. This makes it super easy for people to browse through ideas that have already been captured. They can vote on existing ones, and of course, they can add their new ones too. And then you have those insights coming back in as all crowdsourced in one place, and you can really keep that outside-in discovery happening all the time so that you're always staying focused on understanding and ultimately delivering what customers want. Now, if you're worried about managing all of that incoming feedback, don't be. We make it super easy for you to set up a really efficient idea management process that enables you to categorize, review, and respond to every single idea coming in. So really, just to recap, the three takeaways are here are absolutely make sure you're documenting everything. Don't lose those valuable insights. Capture them as a formal record type so that you're really bringing them into the planning process, and then enable that always on Nihito. Just make sure that customers can be constantly sharing their feedback with you so that you're really staying in close touch with what they want and need. All right, back to you, Dan.
Great. All right, let's dive into strategy and how it can be used to guide your prioritization. Now, a good place to start is to define what is strategy, because strategy can oftentimes be a nebulous concept. And at Pragmatic, we define strategy as the intersection of who do you want to pursue and how do we solve the market's problems. Basically, your strategy is the overlap of what does the market want you to build and what is your organization good at. Now, sometimes your company strategy is declared explicitly. Other times it's more implicit. Now, explicit strategies can be expressed through OKRs, KPIs, organizational goals. Maybe it's a balanced scorecard. Sometimes the strategy is not explicitly spelled out, which is more of the implicit strategy. How do you uncover a company's implicit strategy? Well, we would recommend list out your different products and what projects are being worked on. What is getting funded? What's getting killed? What's getting celebrated? After you list out all of the different projects that are getting funded, try to identify some measurable business outcomes that those projects are driving. Is it new customer growth? Are they designed to expand market share? Are you entering new geographies? Or is the goal to improve operational efficiency? The outcomes that you identify is your implicit strategy. And one tool that you can use to get clarity on your strategy is the strategy matrix. Now, the pragmatic strategy matrix, it helps you to decide where are you going to invest and where are you not going to invest. You need to make that distinction. Now, the first thing you need to declare is what is the time frame that you're looking at for this strategy? And then you can look at the rows. In the rows, you're answering the question, who are you most interested in winning? And you have 4 options. Do you want to focus on existing customers, winning the competition's customers, winning potentials? Those are people who haven't started shopping yet, or approaching new segments. That's where you're solving a new set of problems. In the columns, you also have 4 options as well. Are you going to focus on your existing products? Are you going to add new options to your products? Are you going to create new products? Or are you going to invest in new technology? Now, we recommend that you focus on 4 boxes. What are the 4 most important intersections? Which 4 boxes capture the strategy that you want to focus on over that time frame? We're aiming to avoid the peanut butter strategy, which is trying to do a little bit of everything. You don't want to be trying to do everything, in 8, 9, 12, 16 different boxes. You need to decide where you're going to invest and where you're going to invest and where you're not going to invest. So let's go back to Claire so you can see how to implement this using AHA.
Thank you, Dan. And I wholeheartedly agree. We definitely don't want a peanut butter strategy. So to really echo what you said, having clarity around your product strategy really is the secret to prioritizing features and planning releases with confidence. The simple reason is that it grounds the prioritization process in objectivity rather than opinion. So in this section, I'm going to show you how you can, formalize your vision and your goals in AHA roadmaps. And then we'll look at how to identify the right investment opportunities using the strategy matrix that Dan just shared. And then we'll look at then taking those key investment areas and formalizing them again as strategic initiatives in AHA roadmaps so that you've got that sort of clear record of where you're going to focus. All right, so let me now head back into AHA roadmaps and we can talk about how we are going to capture our strategy. So here you can see that we have documented our vision. This really is your true north for where your product is heading. So really important to keep, again, that front and center, just to keep everybody grounded on where you're trying to get to in the future. Now, up here in the strategy section, you have dedicated pages not only for your vision, but other really important, foundational elements that go into your strategy. So your business model, your positioning, personas, and competitors. But let's move on and talk about that more explicit strategy that Dan was talking about. So these are the product goals that you need to accomplish to support the overarching business goals that are typically communicated by the executive team. So here for Fredwin Cycling, you can see that I have 4 major goals. So I want to be improving user engagement, expanding our partner ecosystem, increasing paid subscriptions, and expanding internationally. Now, if I open each of these goals up, I can capture all of the relevant details. Note here how I'm rolling it up to my product or my company level goals rather, and also capturing a really clear success metric. So this is making that explicit strategy very clear. But now let's talk about how to get alignment on that more implicit strategy using the strategy matrix that Dan just shared, which really is such a great tool. So here I've just hopped back over into the knowledge section that we were in previously. And in this instance, I've actually used a whiteboard to recreate the strategy matrix. So now I can lay out, or what I've actually done here is I've added those explicit goals as record cards directly to my whiteboard, and I've mapped them to that left column. This is, again, just keeping me really grounded in what that explicit strategy is. And so I can open these record cards up, actually right from the whiteboard, and that's just going to give me that context, again, for what it is that I want to accomplish and why. The other thing I've done here is to go ahead and color those key areas of the matrix that really align more with our implicit strategy. As Dan said, it's really important to sort of narrow the focus and not try and do the peanut butter strategy and do too much. So here we've got 4 key cells that we've outlined. So if I'm looking at the top row here, I have that explicit goal that I want to improve user engagement. And I know that we're primarily focused on doing that by improving our existing products. And so that's going to help keep that focus, even when we're sort of perhaps getting distracted by, investing in new technology. We know that that's where we want to focus. And then I can start capturing those key market insights as on sticky notes and move them around and make sure and see kind of where they line up in those key intersections to sort of guide where we're ultimately going to decide to invest. Now, at this stage in the planning process, getting alignment is really, really important. And so the beauty of doing all of this on a whiteboard is that you can collaborate with people very, very easily. So folks can jump into the whiteboard, you can start moving some of these sticky notes around if you disagree with where they're on the matrix, if there's additional ideas that need adding. And then what's really handy is actually running a voting session. Oops, sorry, that should not have just happened like that. You can actually run a voting session right on your matrix so that people can sort of weigh in and select the areas that matter most to them. You can get that very quick consensus. And then at that point, you've narrowed in your options and you're ready to then start exploring these big investment opportunities as the ones that you want to move ahead with. So let's imagine here that we've all agreed that enhancing our activity tracking is an initiative that we're going to want to focus on. The handy thing here is that I can actually go ahead and I can convert it right into an initiative right from the whiteboard. So let's go ahead and do that. So this has now created an initiative. I could actually work on it right from the whiteboard here to fill in more details. Although what we're actually going to do is head back into that strategy section, and then we can start building out those initiatives again in more detail. So let's just head over here. Now, I actually went ahead and built out my initiatives earlier, but you can see that one here at the bottom that I literally just converted. Of course, these are big areas of investment. So you really want to do the due diligence and thoroughly evaluate them to make sure that you really want to commit your organizational resources to them. So here I can capture all of the details that I need about the opportunity. Over on the right, you'll also notice that I'm capturing financial data around the budget and the cost so that I can really keep track of that too. Also super important, notice here that I have linked the initiative back up to the strategic goal. That's really important. This is how we start to establish what we like to call the red thread of strategy, really showing at each level of prioritization how the decisions you're making support the overall product and company strategy. The other thing I want to point out here is you have this handy research tab at the bottom. This is where you can link those market discovery insights. So notice here how I've got that AeroCycle market discovery document linked straight to the initiative. So as we're going through this prioritization process and really aligning on where we want to invest, this now means that anybody can come and look at this initiative and understand the market insights that were driving the decision to move ahead with it. So again, just sort of to recap what we've covered here, really do make that explicit strategy really clear. That's going to keep you grounded throughout the prioritization process. Then use that strategy matrix, get that alignment on the top investments, and then formalize those strategic initiatives. That's going to then give you that critical guardrail as you go into the next layer of detailed planning and really start building out your roadmap. All right, back to you, Dan.
All right, well, let's now shift gears and talk more about roadmaps and how to get that internal buy-in using roadmaps. So roadmaps tell the story of where we are today, where we're going in the future, and how we're going to get there. Now, product managers are going to have different areas of investment determined by the business strategy. And roadmaps reflect the opportunities of initiatives that you prioritize, as Claire pointed out, based on customer insights. So you're going to have to show how market data informed how you structured your roadmap. And as we just saw, AHA makes that very easy. But let's look at the parts of a roadmap. So a roadmap, as you see on the screen here, is going to include components as like your product vision, which is how are future customers going to benefit from your product when it's fully realized? Outcomes should capture the business impact of your work. With market problem themes, this is where you categorize problems into themes that deliver clear value. This ensures that your roadmap speaks to the market problems being solved and isn't just a list of features. Finally, use timeframes on your roadmaps, not delivery dates. At Pragmatic, we recommend using a roadmap and a release plan. A roadmap is a statement of vision. It's subject to change, and it may not even be fully baked. Maybe the things on the roadmap haven't even been fully funded. However, the release plan is a commitment. It's scheduled, it's approved, it's a funded delivery plan. So as projects evolve and solidify, they're going to move from the roadmap to the release plan. So the roadmap should have timelines. The delivery dates belong on the release plan. Now, you're going to have different roadmaps for different audiences. So some stakeholders, their roadmap might be very high level. If you're working with your team, your engineers, they're going to need more details, more specificity. Other audiences might just need that big picture. So consider the audience. What do they care most about when crafting the roadmap? And focus on those concerns. You should not use one roadmap for all of your stakeholders. So to summarize roadmaps and release plans, a roadmap is a prediction. It's not a promise. It's not a commitment. That's for the release plan. So let's go back to Claire again and see how you can all set this all up using AHA.
Wonderful. Thank you for that lovely setup. So at this point, I would say, we really have the clarity regarding the why behind our roadmap. Now we're getting more deeply into those elements that Dan described as the what and the when, so that you can ultimately communicate your plans and get everybody on board and really excited about what is coming. So in this section, we're going to just step back a little bit and discuss, now that we have those strategic initiatives in place, how are we going to identify the top features that we want to build in order to achieve those strategic initiatives. We'll then organize those features into releases to firm up the timing of our plans. And then at this point, we can turn all of those strategic planning inputs into a beautiful roadmap that we can socialize with our stakeholders. All right, so I am now going to head back into AHA roadmaps. And this screen should look familiar. This is that ideas overview page that we were looking at earlier. Now, the beauty of encouraging all of your customers to submit feedback via the ideas portal is that when it comes to this stage where you're trying to identify which features to prioritize, you have all of these valuable insights captured in one place that you can draw on. And so that you can really stay laser focused on delivering solutions that will delight your customers. So if this approach is working well, you will have a ton of feedback to consider. And that's why we provide a really powerful range of reporting capabilities to help you analyze your feedback and at scale and find those market themes that Dan was talking about. So here, I actually used our AI exploration tool to sort of accelerate that process a little bit and to really help me narrow in on what are the key customer feedback themes across all of the ideas in my portal. Now, if you remember, one of my key initiatives was to enhance activity tracking. So if I start typing in activity tracking here, the tool's going to help narrow in on those ideas and those themes for me and really start pointing me towards the top ideas that are going to help me achieve that initiative. From there, I'm going to then add all of those ideas to a prioritization view. And this is, again, where we can really work on getting that alignment with the group about which ones we actually want to go ahead and implement. Now, it's really important here to start or to make sure you're using a very objective approach to making those prioritization decisions. Now, AHA actually provides a built-in scorecard to help you do that. Of course, you can customize the metrics and the weightings that you're using. But in essence, what you're trying to do here is think about, okay, how many customers will this idea benefit? What is the urgency? Like who needs these? How important it is, sorry, for the people who really need it. You want to be constantly questioning how closely each idea aligns to your strategy. And then thinking about your level of confidence in the score. Earlier on in the planning process, your confidence level is probably going to be lower until you've done more research and really validated the opportunity. And of course, you always want to be factoring in the level of effort that it's actually going to take to implement each idea as you're making those decisions about whether it makes sense to go ahead. So once you've been through that scoring process, you can then rank all of these ideas in priority order. And that's going to help you, like I say, narrow in on the top ones that you want to go ahead and implement. Now, the next step is to then bring it straight into your planning process. So we make it very easy to prioritize ideas directly into features so that you can bring them into your product backlog. So what I'm going to do now is head over to the features board, which is where you can really get into that more sort of nitty-gritty of prioritizing those features and planning releases and really getting your plans shaping up very nicely. So we fast forwarded it a bit here. Let's imagine we have promoted all of those ideas, and these are now appearing in the parking lot over to the right of the screen. So if I open up one of these features, you can see I can capture all of the different user requirements. And then the key here, again, is making sure you're still establishing that thread of strategy. So linking it back to the initiative that it ties to. And actually, if I open up the initiative from here, the beauty as you're doing this is you really start to get that picture coming together of what are all of the things that we're going to be implementing. So that's a really powerful way to see how your roadmap is actually coming together. The other key thing is at this stage is making sure you're working very closely with your engineering team. So notice here how you can be capturing estimates and really understanding what it's going to take to deliver. Of course, we integrate with all of the top development tools, so AHA Develop, Jira, Azure DevOps, so you can make that collaboration as seamless as possible. So once you've done that more detailed level of planning, you're then ready to start thinking about when you're actually going to release these features to market. So over here to the left of the board, I've got these different release containers, and then I can literally just drag and drop features to schedule them for release. And each of these releases will have a target launch date. And as Dan said, this is where we're really starting to make that commitment about what we're going to bring to market. So at this stage, the groundwork for building your roadmap really is done. You've put all this strategic planning data in there. Now you need to socialize the plan with your stakeholders. And as Dan said, it's really important to be thinking about the different views that you're using to make sure that you're sharing that information in the way that makes the most sense for each audience. So here I'm going to start by showing you the strategy roadmap. This is a great view for sharing with your leadership team. So over on the left, you have those strategic initiatives that we've been looking at defining, and then all of those features that we linked are automatically now showing up on the roadmap. This is an interactive view. So as you're having these conversations and socializing the roadmap, chances are you'll be needing to make adjustments. So you can move things around if you need to. You can be adding dependencies if you need to. You can even drill into a specific feature right from the roadmap if someone's asking more questions. Of course, you want to be thinking about the details of the information that you show, really making sure you're tailoring it to your audience's needs. So like I said, this is a great sort of high-level view for showing how the whole strategy ties together, but there are other audiences too. So if you're sharing your roadmap with a delivery team, engineering or marketing, for example, they probably want to get more into the details of knowing exactly what is coming and when so that they can make their own plans. The features roadmap is perfect for that. It shows the features organized into release containers and just helps provide that extra level of specificity. The last example I want to show you is our Now, Next, Later roadmap. There are other audiences where it's more important to just be giving more of a broader time frame for what's coming and when. You might not want to commit to a specific delivery date if there's a chance that those dates could change a little bit, or it's not quite set in stone at this place. So that's where the Now, Next, Later roadmap really comes in and is just a great way to get people excited, give them a good sense of what is on the timeline. From there, once you've created this roadmap, there's lots of easy ways to share them. So you can add them to a built-in presentation right in AHA roadmaps. You can share it as a web page or even add it to a dashboard. And the real beauty is, like I said, all of these views are live. So like Dan was saying, a lot of the details of the roadmap are going to keep changing. The wonderful thing here is, as you change those underlying planning inputs, your roadmap will stay up to date. That means you don't have to spend time constantly updating your roadmap, making sure, that we haven't got different versions floating around that are out of date. So what I'm really hoping you've been able to take away from this section is just how easy it is to then actually create the roadmap once you've done all that upfront planning, to put it in a format that really works well for your different audiences and get people excited about what's coming and really showing how you're taking those market insights and ultimately building really lovable products for your customers.
Thank you so much, Claire and Dan. This has been a really illuminating way to walk through both the methodology and the bringing to life of all of these principles and working through challenges that we have all experienced in our product work. Just a reminder, this session has been recorded and we're going to send it to you in the next couple of days. You are also going to get copies of the pragmatic tools and templates that Dan shared during this session. And I encourage all of you to go check out AHA, you can use a free trial of AHA and see how it works for you. You can find that at the top of AHA's website, and I'm going to drop the link down there for you in a minute. But first, we've got a little bit of time to answer a couple questions. The first question that came in that I want to chat about, actually, Claire and Dan, I would love for you guys to answer this question together. Maybe opposing views or aligning views. I want to hear all the different perspectives, but this is a question about ideas. When you're using ideas in AHA as a tool, how do you set the threshold for what is impactful? This question asker is leaning towards cohort size or maybe subscriber base. Are there any other interesting approaches for how you decide the threshold for what ideas are impactful?
Claire?
I was going to say, I definitely have lots of thoughts on that.
Yeah.
So I think, to some extent, it can vary by organization. So it's worth having that conversation internally to make sure you all agree on how you're going to decide which ideas are impactful. So I showed you the example of the AHA product value scorecard, which is a great, starting point, and that's the approach that we use. But obviously, if you're using a different prioritization framework, then you can customize that to your needs. But I do think there's other ways that you need to consider the value of ideas too. So one of the things that we try to enable through the ideas portal is making sure you can set up different customer segments. You want to be looking at ideas by company as well as, by different sort of attributes across your customer base. So there's lots of different ways to slice and dice it. I think, there is a reality too that you want to implement ideas that are going to drive revenue. So one of the things we also do is make sure that we integrate, or you can integrate with Salesforce. So you can actually bring that opportunity data in and then really see in one view the full picture of, okay, what is it customers are asking for, but also what are they willing to pay for? And that really helps you make those informed decisions.
Yeah, that mirrors what I was going to say. We teach the principles of pervasiveness, urgency, willingness to pay, and you can track that in AHA with the scorecard. So it's very easy to kind of go and measure. Once you have that tracked for the different areas, then it's just a matter of comparing and saying, all right, well, where are the areas of biggest impact?
Yeah, agreed. Thank you both. All right, next up, we actually got a couple questions that were very similar. And so this one is about making sure that stakeholder feedback on the roadmap is productive and helps strengthen priorities rather than causing those constant pivots that we have all fought uphill about. So how do you suggest dealing with when your leadership team is saying one thing about your strategy, but then they're also suggesting maybe some shiny objects that don't necessarily align? How do you make sure that that feedback is productive and not distracting? Also would love to hear from both of you. Dan, why don't you kick us off with this one?
So there's different elements that Claire showed within AHA where she was quantifying and she was pulling up specific documentation. So again, it has to go back to market data. It has to go back to, all right, how much have we quantified? How impactful, how pervasive is this problem? And that coupled with knowing what our strategy is and using the strategy matrix, those in tandem, especially using the strategy matrix as a forcing function to say, where are you going to invest? Where are you not going to invest? And when you've kind of specified, hey, these are our goal areas, all of those together can help push back on some of that, because you get these hippos, the highest paid person's opinions, who just want to kind of bypass the prioritization. But when you are using the combination of our principles and best practices with all of the tools in AHA, you can say, hey, this doesn't look, we've got a system that works here. This isn't working. This doesn't fit in. You can't just skip the line.
Yeah, I would definitely echo, many of the things that Dan just said, and it really does come back to making sure your strategy is explicitly captured so that it is there as that sort of grounding thing of like, these are the goals we agreed on. And if you've got that captured, it takes a lot of that sort of subjectivity out. The thing I would say though is, it's really great to be having those conversations. I wouldn't shy away from encouraging conversations with stakeholders and gathering that input. It's normal that there's going to be different perspectives and different opinions. You want to be capturing that. What we found is making sure you actually have space for that in your strategic planning process works really well, so that you define key touch points when people can come and make sure their voice is being heard, and you can address those concerns or those different perspectives early, explain why you're not following that approach or why you are following a certain approach, so that you're bringing people along with you. I think what can be really hard is if you kind of like, ta-da, here's my roadmap, and then you've got to sort of backtrack and explain it all, and people are sort of questioning, or they haven't had a chance to have their perspective heard. We actually fairly recently sort of published a whole series around how to drive stakeholder alignment throughout the strategic planning process. So highly recommend giving it a read, because we've got lots of tools and tips on how you can sort of bring people along, but kind of keep everyone really grounded on your strategy.
Beautifully said, Claire. And thank you so much for that resource. We will make sure to share that with folks on the line. We only have time for one more question. If you asked a question and we haven't addressed it, do not worry. We will find you and we will answer your question. We will send you a follow-up email and get you all of the answers to your questions. Okay, last one. This is for you, Claire. Folks are wondering about areas where AHA is incorporating AI tools now, or either in the works for the future. This person specifically is working really hard to document discovery in the knowledge area in AHA, and is wondering how to use AI to identify patterns and keywords to really amplify their discovery process, but curious about the AI integrations into AHA in general.
Yeah, definitely. AI is a tool that we sort of look at in a very additive way. So we really sort of look at all the different information that people are capturing in our software and really thinking about, okay, how is AI going to help to enhance that? So it is an area that we're constantly working on. So that I was using AI when I showed you how we identified all of those feedback themes. That's a really, great use case for it, sort of analyzing data at scale. We've brought it into a lot of our documentation. So we have AI capabilities with a sort of writing assistant to kind of help you kind of jumpstart how you're sort of capturing and documenting different insights. You can use AI to generate release notes. This is one of the fantastic things about bringing your documentation, your strategic plans together. You can ship a release and AI can look at all of your feature descriptions and produce those release notes for you. So we're doing lots of really awesome things there. We also have the ability to create knowledge bases. And actually I think it was just last week, we launched the ability to use AI search and knowledge bases. So slightly different answer to the question, but we're really thinking about all of the touch points throughout the product development lifecycle. In this scenario, how can AI help your customers get the product answers that they need? So, yep, it's certainly an area that we're actively working on and constantly thinking about how we can use it to help our customers and to help our customers help their customers.
That's amazing. And I love hearing all the different use cases of innovation that you guys are weaving in. So that is fantastic. All right, we have come to the end of our time. Claire, Dan, thank you so much for being here with us. You are each eloquent and brilliant and generous. And I am so grateful that you both took the time to share all this knowledge with folks on the line. Everyone who joined us, thank you so much for being here. It's your questions and your insights and your chat and support of each other in these sessions that really makes my day and makes these sessions more valuable for everybody. So until next time, we will catch you later. Thank you, everyone. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much.